If a mathematical genius suddenly decided to abandon modern life to become a notorious terrorist, you might think it's a story straight out of a movie. But this is the truth, and it shook the entire United States and left the FBI struggling for decades. Theodore Kaczynski, also known as the Unabomber, is one of the most infamous terrorists in American history. With exceptional intelligence, he was once the youngest professor at the University of Berkeley. However, behind that brilliant mind was a troubled soul filled with anger toward modern society. In this video, we will explore the complex life of Theodore Kaczynski, from his golden years in academia until he became one of America's most dangerous terrorists. This story is not just about bomb explosions, but also about the contrast between intelligence and evil, between progress and the price we have to pay. Theodore John Kaczynski was born on May 22, 1942, in Chicago, Illinois, to a working-class family of Polish immigrants. His family lived modestly but placed a strong emphasis on education. From an early age, Kaczynski exhibited signs of exceptional intelligence. His parents, particularly his mother, were always proud of his academic abilities and devoted considerable effort to nurturing his talents. In elementary school, Kaczynski quickly outpaced his peers. His IQ was recorded at an astounding 167, a number that opened up special opportunities for him. At Evergreen Park High School, where he studied, Kaczynski was allowed to skip the 6th grade and move directly to the 7th grade. This was the first time Kaczynski realized he was different from those around him. Throughout his high school years, Kaczynski continued to excel in academics, particularly in mathematics. Teachers remarked that he could solve complex problems with remarkable ease. By 11th grade, he was once again allowed to skip a grade, advancing directly to 12th grade. As a result, Kaczynski graduated from high school at the age of 16 and immediately received a scholarship to Harvard University, one of the most prestigious universities in the United States. In 1958, Kaczynski officially became a student at Harvard University. There, he studied mathematics under the guidance of top professors. Kaczynski's brilliance was evident not only in his ability to grasp complex theories, but also in his capacity to create new methods for solving mathematical problems. He completed his bachelor's degree in mathematics in 1962 at the age of just 20. After graduating from Harvard, Kaczynski continued his academic journey at the University of Michigan, where he successfully defended his doctoral dissertation in mathematics in 1967. His dissertation was so highly regarded that he received the Sumner B. Myers Award, given for the best mathematics dissertation of the year. These achievements made Kaczynski a rising star in the mathematics community. In late 1967, at the age of 25, Kaczynski was invited to join the University of California, Berkeley, as a lecturer. This was a significant honor, as he became the youngest professor in the school's history. At Berkeley, he taught analytical geometry and quickly impressed his colleagues and students with his exceptional abilities. Professor Peter Duran, a colleague at Berkeley, once commented, "Kaczynski is not like other professors. He has mathematical circuits in his head that just need to be touched and it turns into a great lecture." However, behind the curtain of academic success, Kaczynski began to feel increasingly dissatisfied with modern life. He became skeptical about technological development and its impact on humans and nature. These thoughts became increasingly clear and gradually pushed him on a path separate from society. In 1969, Kaczynski abruptly resigned from his position as a lecturer at Berkeley without any explanation. His promising academic career came to a sudden end. He left the city and lived with his parents for a while before deciding to build a small wooden cabin in a remote forest in Lincoln County, Montana. Here, Kaczynski lived as a hermit without electricity or running water and began a self-sufficient life. This decision marked the beginning of a dark journey leading to later acts of terrorism. This choice is not just about finding peace. It was a way for him to resist what he saw as the encroachment of industry on nature. He abandoned modern conveniences to return to a self-sufficient lifestyle, and this deeply reflected his dissatisfaction with modern industrial society. Kaczynski's shift in perspective did not happen overnight. He felt that industrial development, especially construction projects and resource exploitation, was destroying nature and transforming his living environment. Kaczynski believes that these changes not only reduce the quality of life but also destroy human nature. It was this frustration that led him to decide not only to distance himself from, but also to fight against, the system he saw as the cause of this devastation. When Kaczynski felt that the encroachment on his beloved natural areas could not be stopped, he began to believe that violence was the only way to protect nature. He thought that using violence could force organizations and individuals to recognize the wrongness of their actions and hold them accountable. This marked a critical turning point, transforming him from a reclusive thinker into a terrorist with a clear objective. Kaczynski began targeting individuals and organizations he believed represented the destruction of the environment. His targets included scientists, engineers, and individuals working in industrial fields that he saw as major threats to nature. He aimed not only to cause physical damage, but also to send a powerful message about the dangers of technology and the urgent need for change. Theodore Kaczynski, also known as the Unabomber, carried out a series of bombings from 1978 to 1995. He used homemade explosive devices, which, according to the FBI, were often placed in wooden boxes or metal containers. These bombs were typically sent through the mail and designed to detonate when the recipient opened them. Kaczynski carefully selected his targets to maximize attention and cause the greatest impact. On May 25, 1978, Kaczynski sent his first bomb to Professor Buckley Crist at Northwestern University. Professor Crist, an expert in materials engineering, was chosen as a target by Kaczynski because his research played a significant role in the development of industrial infrastructure. When Sergeant Terry Marker, who opened the package on behalf of Professor Crist, opened the box, the bomb exploded, causing serious injuries and severely damaging his hand. Shortly afterward, another Northwestern University student, John Harris, received a similar package. When he opened it, the bomb detonated, causing him to lose 3 fingers and suffer severe burns. On November 15, 1979, Kaczynski carried out a more daring attack by sending a bomb via airmail on American Airlines Flight 444 from Chicago to Washington, D.C. The bomb began smoking while the plane was at an altitude of 6,000 meters, causing an emergency situation that forced the aircraft to make an emergency landing. The FBI later assessed that if the bomb had fully detonated, it could have severely damaged the plane and potentially killed all 198 passengers and crew members on board. By 1985, the first victim to die from Kaczynski's attacks was Hugh Scruton, a computer store owner in Sacramento, California. On December 11th, as Scruton opened a package placed next to the trunk of his car, the bomb exploded, killing him instantly. This increase in brutality was evident in subsequent attacks when bombs were made more lethal. On February 20, 1987, Gary Wright, a computer store owner in Salt Lake City, Utah, was the next victim. While opening an undelivered wooden box, the bomb exploded, causing him serious injuries, including severed nerves, and doctors removed 200 nails from his body. The subsequent attacks not only caused injuries but also claimed more lives. On June 22, 1993, Charles Epstein, a geneticist, and David Gelernter, a computer science professor, both became victims of bombings that left them severely injured with serious wounds and lasting consequences. On December 10, 1994, Thomas J. Mosser, director of an advertising company, was killed by a bomb, making the incident scarier than ever. These attacks demonstrate an increase in Kaczynski's brutality and his relentless determination to carry out his goals. Kaczynski's terrorist campaign not only caused loss of life, but also instilled widespread fear and panic in American society. The series of attacks heightened the vigilance of law enforcement and the public, leading to a massive FBI investigation. The brutality and methodical nature of Kaczynski's attacks led to the establishment of an investigation known as Unabomber, involving more than 150 agents dedicated to tracking down the perpetrator. The FBI also offered a reward of over $1 million for information leading to Kaczynski's capture, which further heightened public attention to the case. In September 1995, the Unabomber sent a 35-page manifesto to the New York Times and the Washington Post. The manifesto, titled Industrial Society and Its Future, outlined Kaczynski's extensive views on modern society and technological development. In the manifesto, Kaczynski strongly criticized technological and industrial development, saying it had led to the erosion of human values and individual freedom. He argues that industrial society is gradually destroying the natural environment and basic social structures, causing people to lose connection with nature and reducing the quality of life. Kaczynski argued that technology and industry were the primary causes of the crisis in modern society, describing his struggle as a battle against the system that was harming both people and the planet. He openly admitted that his bombings were part of an effort to draw attention and force society to reconsider its direction. Kaczynski's motives were primarily driven by his belief that technological and industrial development was harming the natural environment and degrading human quality of life. He argued that industrial systems were destroying the wilderness areas he once cherished and diminishing humanity's ability to live self-sufficiently. In the manifesto, Kaczynski made it clear that he wasn't opposed to technology or progress as a whole, but rather to the negative consequences they had on the environment and society. He believed that the Industrial Revolution had led to the spiritual and physical decline of humanity, while also weakening the ability to live in harmony with nature. This manifesto not only clarified Kaczynski's motives, but also brought greater prominence to the case in the eyes of the public and investigators. It offered deep insights into Kaczynski's personal beliefs and the reasoning behind his choice of violent bombings to convey his message. Initially, the investigation encountered numerous difficulties due to the scarcity of concrete leads. The bombs were often sent from anonymous addresses with no clear trace of their origin, making the task of identifying a suspect more complex than ever. The FBI collected fragments from the bombs and studied how they were constructed. They observed that the explosive devices shared the same design and operational mechanism, indicating that they were likely made by the same person or group of people. During the investigation, the FBI noticed that all the bombs were inscribed with the letters FC. Initially, they were unsure what FC stood for, but it became an important clue. Additionally, another critical detail was that the bombs were all placed in wooden boxes, which led investigators to question their origin. Another important piece of information came from Kaczynski's former lecturer at Berkeley, who provided a copy of Kaczynski's dissertation. The FBI found that the wording in the essay was very similar to that in the Unabomber's statement letters. This helped them determine that Kaczynski could be the prime suspect. Another decisive clue was Kaczynski's habit of ordering wooden boxes from a supplier. This suggested that Kaczynski might have used these wooden boxes to house his bombs. David Kaczynski, Theodore's brother, was a key figure in leading the FBI to the suspect. David noticed similarities between the Unabomber's statements and Theodore's views and personal conversations. David and his wife decided to contact the FBI after seeing the Unabomber's manifesto in the newspaper. They realized that Theodore could be the culprit and provide vital information that helps the FBI identify the right person. Information from David Kaczynski helped the FBI connect clues to Theodore, leading to the exact location of the suspect's residence. In April 1996, the FBI conducted a raid on Kaczynski's remote cabin in Lincoln County, Montana. This was where Kaczynski had lived in seclusion for many years and where he stored the materials used to make his bombs. When agents inspected the house, they found bomb-making materials, including metal pipes engraved with FC, wooden barrels, and explosives. This evidence proved that Kaczynski was the person behind the bombings. Kaczynski was captured without resistance. After his arrest, Kaczynski admitted that he was the author of all the bombings and gave reasons for his actions. After his arrest, Theodore Kaczynski faced a series of serious charges, including illegal possession and transportation of explosives, threats, bomb-making, mailing bombs, terrorism, and first-degree murder. Kaczynski's trial became one of the most high-profile cases in American legal history. Kaczynski rejected his lawyer's defense and demanded a public trial. He admitted to being the perpetrator and asserted that his bombings were part of his struggle against the destruction of the environment and industrial society. The trial was attended by numerous lawyers, journalists, and psychological experts. Kaczynski himself spoke in court, clearly expressing his views on the issues he considered urgent and in need of resolution. On January 22, 1998, the federal court handed down the final sentence to Theodore Kaczynski. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole, meaning he would never be free. Kaczynski was transferred to ADX Florence Federal Prison, a facility known for its high level of security. This is where high-risk prisoners and serious criminals are detained. Throughout the trial and even after his sentencing, Kaczynski remained steadfast in his beliefs. He maintained that he carried out the bombings with good intentions and expressed no regret for his actions. Kaczynski was one of the first to warn about the dangers of uncontrolled technological development. Although his actions were inexcusable, his views sparked a profound discussion on how technology and industrial society impact personal life. These effects include the erosion of privacy, the growing disconnect between humans and the natural environment, and shifts in social relationships. The case highlighted the urgent need to find a balance between technological advancement and environmental protection. It raised critical questions about how technological progress can be achieved without harming environmental elements and cultural values. These discussions led to a reassessment of environmental policies and sustainable development practices, prompting society to rethink the way it approaches the intersection of innovation and conservation. The name Theodore Kaczynski will forever be associated with the term Unabomber and serve as a symbol of the destructive struggle against the ravages of industrial society. The legacy of the case has highlighted issues of security, society, and psychology while also prompting further discussions and research into these topics. Throughout the video, we have explored the life and journey of Theodore Kaczynski, also known as the Unabomber. From his outstanding academic years at Harvard and the University of Michigan to his solitary life in the Montana wilderness, and finally, the violent terrorist attacks he carried out. Kaczynski's actions were not only shocking but also sparked significant discussions about technology, society, and ethics. Although Kaczynski's goals were to oppose technological development and protect the environment, his methods caused death and unjustified violence. The Unabomber case has raised many questions about how society can balance technological progress and protecting the values of nature and the environment. Thank you for watching the video and see you in the next videos.